This is Ryan.
And I'm John.
Welcome to preview season.
Oath of the Gatewatch.
All right, we got a great batch of cards for this episode.
Oh man, we do.
So many good ones. Let's get right to it.
Oh!
First one, Embodiment of Fury. Now, I've seen some confusion among newer players. I just want to make sure everyone's evaluating this card correctly. Land creatures means lands that have become creatures, not non-flying creatures who walk around on the land or something like that. So what we have here is a creature that pairs well with Awaken spells or creature lands like our exclusive preview, Hissing Quagmire. His landfall ability can also stack with those lands that were already awakened. So there's 0/0 creatures that can have counters on them, and if you make it a 3/3 creature, those counters will add to that, making it really easy to get a 6/6 or a 7/7 with trample.
Yeah, those awakened lands are like base 0/0, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I get it now.
So also, this guy pairs great with Evolving Wilds or any other type of land that you can sacrifice to get a different one out of your deck. That's 2 lands entering the battlefield in one turn, which gets you 2 3/3 trample guys basically for free. And if you're into building wacky theme decks like I am, get yourself a copy of Embodiment of Spring from Khans of Tarkir. They're apparently long-lost cousins who play really well together.
So this is kind of a cool, deliberately like red version of Halimar Tidecaller from Battle for Zendikar.
Which I love.
Halimar Tidecaller is 2/3 for 3. It makes all your lands have flying.
Yep.
And it gets back an
Awaken
Awakened
spell,
card.
yeah.
So this is kind of the red version of that. It doesn't get back an Awakened spell, but it kind of encourages you to be aggressive, which is what red is all about. I know I'm comparing it to Halimar Tidecaller, but it'd be cool if it was like a cycle in this set, which it definitely might be. I'm not ruling that out. It's a good rate for its stats, and it could even be great in Commander or in a limited deck with Nissa's Renewal.
Yeah, I don't know about cycle, but I could see it at least being red and green. Those are the landfall colors predominantly, so we should maybe see a mirror to this, if not a full cycle.
Totally.
All right, Flaying Tendrils.
The Devoid Infest.
Yeah. This is a good way to stop your opponent from stocking up on too many Scion tokens. If you manage to kill a few of their real cards, you can also bank some fuel for your processors if you've got any. We haven't really seen any, though, in Oath of the Gatewatch, so the Exile clause is probably going to be more important in Constructed than Limited. And, warning, if you're playing Two-Headed Giant, make sure you really think about this one before firing it off. You're going to kill your teammates' creatures, too. So if you're counting on them for a ride home after the tournament, don't piss them off too much.
Okay, so there's finally something that fills the void in Standard that Drown in Sorrow left behind.
Sure.
It's easy to kind of say, and I'm kind of in this boat, it's easy to say, oh, hey, we have Infest, let's just, slap...
Void and
slap
ingest?
Void on it, but I'm still gonna play with the card. I'm not above playing with the card. Also relevant in Modern, it knocks out Kitchen Finks, and Kitchen Finks is kind of a card that's on the rise because lots of people are playing Burn.
Sure.
So if you want to kill some Kitchen Finks, this card is a great way to do it.
Great. All right, up next, Oath of Nyssa. Now, if you remember my reaction to Oath of Jace, I was pretty down on this cycle because I figured each one would be pretty much useless and limited without a Planeswalker. Now, luckily, it seems that the green one is a bit more useful, even if your deck is just lands and creatures. I think green doesn't usually get ways to filter their draws, especially not at the low price of just 1 mana, but it does tend to have more ways to shuffle your deck thanks to cards that search up lands, put them into play. So even if you have to put 2 really good cards on the bottom of your deck after you drop this, you might be able to shuffle your deck later, move some of those cards back into the realm of top deck possibilities. So not too lost.
Okay, so I actually talked to people about this cycle because now there's 2 cards in it, and it's basically confirmed that it's going to be a cycle.
Sure.
Everyone is high on this cycle, and I don't get it. I mean, okay, so this card basically gives you access to mismatched planeswalkers in your deck, but green already does a great job of fixing colors. Like, that's kind of green's identity, especially in this set, and I just don't understand why. Okay, so every spell in your deck has to do something. Like, you ask your spells to have a floor. Yeah. And you want the floor as high as possible. And the floor on this is like, it's just so low. It has no effect on the board whatsoever. So I can't imagine that having access to mismatched colors planeswalkers is worth putting multiple copies of this card in your deck.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Even if you're like splashing a different colored walker, you couldn't count on this being the fix. You'd still have to run other lands or something anyway as like a plan B. You don't want to be stuck with that in your hand. So really, yeah, I guess it's not helping you out quite as much as you would think.
Exactly, and the mana in Standard is so good that you can just play the extra color and not have to worry about having this count as one of your spells.
That's true. What about limited in draft? How early are you picking one of these oaths so far?
Probably like 15th.
15th, right.
I'd probably pick a basic
Pick
over.
the base. Yeah, there you go. Full art, man. They're so great.
Oh, yeah.
All right. How about Sphinx of the Final Word?
Ow!
Yeah.
We got a mythic.
I think he's a pretty good finisher in a format like limited where you're almost certainly going to see the 7 mana required to cast him.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you read the fine print. He'll protect your instant and sorcery spells, but your opponent can still freely counter your creatures, enchantments, artifacts, and planeswalkers, so you're not totally bulletproof.
Yeah, so that's a good sum up of how it will perform in limited. Now in standard, what I'm thinking is so Dragonlord Ojutai, Dragonlord Silumgar make it so like this card is good. This card is not bad, but unfortunately it's just like it's competing with too much, and Dragonlord Ojutai and Dragonlord Silumgar are just better in every way. Their stats are better, and the fact that they synergize with stuff like Foul Tongue Invocation and Silumgar Scorn just makes them so much better. Dragons of Tarkir doesn't rotate for a while, but when it does, I would take a look at this guy because he's going to be like the control deck win condition du jour, and it's worth buying low and kind of waiting till he gets his spot in the spotlight.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a bit of like Reaper of the Wilds, I think it was. It was a really good 4-drop, but it was totally outclassed by Pelucranos, and then, Siege Rhino comes in, and like that slot was just so congested, there wasn't enough room for all these great 4-drops.
Yeah.
Same kind of idea here. Sphinx is a fine card, but there's just so much else going on at that curve.
Totally.
There's just not room for him right now.
Expensive cards have it tough, man.
Yeah. How about this one, Stoneforge Masterwork?
Coat of Arms Equipment!
I think the idea is that you put this in an allies deck and benefit from having the shared creature type, but I can also see someone being really sly and putting it on an Eldrazi Scion.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right here for a second.
Sure.
Stoneforge Masterwork. This card clearly is, if you look at the art, it clearly is for humans, but an Eldrazi spawn can wear it. So
Sure.
what's your flavor ruling on that one?
I mean, a Loxodon could wear it too, and it wouldn't fit him. A dragon could wear. I mean, there's so many things that Magic, you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt.
But should these creatures be allowed to wear this?
I guess not.
Should it be humans only?
It should. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like boots of whatever Swiftfoot boots or something shouldn't be going on.
You can put Swiftfoot boots on a caterpillar.
You could, I guess. Who's going to tie all the laces though? That would be really hard.
Oh well, you only need 2 boots for the caterpillar. The other feet are still barefoot, but you have the boots on 2 feet, and then all you do is tie those 2 shoes, and you're good.
I guess that's fair. All right. So anyway, can I get back to my?
You may.
Thanks. So yeah, you could put this in a Scion kind of token deck and just keep spamming those out and make a really big, creature that way. But be careful about putting too many eggs in one basket. As we've already seen, Flaying Tendrils is a card, and it could wipe your board and just kind of ruin that whole plan.
Well, I mean, I think I've done all the discussing of Stoneforge Masterwork I need to.
Yes.
I think I'm set on this card. I've got my flavor ruling in my pocket. So,
all right.
What's the next card?
Next up is Wandering Fumarole.
Sure. Let's call it Fumarole.
Fumarole.
Is that a word?
It is now.
All right, great.
All right. So I'm not sure if I'd pay 5 mana for a 1/4 or 5 mana for a 4/1. If you're trying to do a red-blue spells deck, you generally want to save your mana for counters or burn. I guess on defense, you get this guy as like a Horned Turtle 1/4 blocker for just 4, but that means you're not using your mana to pay for anything else on your opponent's turn, which blue really wants to do most of the time.
Sure. So the thing to remember with these creature lands is that their stats should be a little below replacement level because they're not kind of taking up the space a spell would. You just it's kind of like you're getting a spell for free, and there's lots of value in that. That said, it's so hard to attack with this into open mana just because it's hard to want to change that power and toughness into removal. Mm-hmm. I guess you can always change it back because the activation cost for the ability is 0, but I mean it's just super tough. I think if you're playing Awaken, like you're playing Limited and you've got a lot of Awaken cards, this card gets much, much better.
Sure.
But you could say that for any manland, I think. I mean, I like this card. I'm interested to see where it goes. People are already talking about slotting it into Modern Splinter Twin, where Desolate Lighthouse went.
Okay.
And I don't know if I love that, but the fact that people are even like kind of talking about that option means that maybe this card is a little better than I'm giving it credit for.
Yeah, I'm not down on it. I love all of the creature lands. It's such a fun kind of design space that we don't get to see a lot in other sets. It's kind of unique to Zendikar. So these are always great. I just feel like the Hissing Quagmire might be a little bit more obviously powerful with the Death Touch, and it's a little bit more transparent how to use that. This is going to kind of require some outside the box thinking. So
gotcha.
Could be a little different. All right, up next, Sifter of Skulls. Now, you're mentioning flavor before, and I'm looking at this guy's art. I don't see a lot of skulls here. What I see are bony plates, which I guess...
he's sifting through them. Maybe in the act of sifting, he just kind of...
Okay, these are the leftovers?
Yeah.
The not quite skulls? I don't know. All right. I guess they're the skulls for the Ulamog's brood kind of Eldrazi. So he kind of, squeezes scions out of the bigger dead Eldrazi? Anyway.
Yeah, probably.
His ability seems great, especially in Limited, where you'll be trading creatures back and forth with your opponent quite a bit, so getting the incremental value out of extra scions can tip the game in your favor. And there's something extra insulting about stealing an opponent's creature with a spell like maybe Turn Against, killing it in combat, and then keeping a trophy scion afterwards. Oh, that's so sweet.
So Sifter of Skulls has a really good rate and a really, really good ability. So there's that Rally the Ancestors deck that I keep coming back to. It's kind of like a haven for all the misfit cards that should be good, but just kind of aren't. And I think it would be perfect in a deck like Rally the Ancestors if they needed to make a lot of mana for maybe, I don't know, Ulamog, something like that. If they just wanted to generate a ton of mana, they could by way of just making a bunch of scions. This card... I mean, I think it's really powerful. I think this effect is super good. And I think it almost warrants maybe another look at the strategy, or maybe a new strategy built around it. I think this card is definitely one to keep an eye on. It's good.
I think you could say that about a lot of the cards we've previewed so far.
Totally.
There's some really good, kind of cards that are going to shake up what we know about decks already. The format should kind of get a new lease on life, so we're excited.
Woo!
All right, remember, you can pre-order all of these cards right now on TCGplayer.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, Internet.